Hello, music fans. You're watching Death by Unicorn, where we talk about metal, rock, and prog music. And I know I'm a little late to do this because May is already about a third of the way through, but this video is my May album release radar. These are the albums that I'll be listening to in May, and some of these I've already listened to. But I just want to put all these on your radar in case you're wondering what's coming out this month that you could listen to. So let's jump right in and start off with May 1st, where the Claypool, Lennon, Delirium released their amazing album, The Great Paradox, and The Golden Egg of Empathy, the third album by this American band, psychedelic rock with progressive rock, art rock, funk rock influences. I've already talked about this on my channel and I love it. Uh, Near masterpiece album. And yeah, just if you want to hear Les Claypool from Primus, an amazing bass player, one of my favorite bass players ever, collaborating with Sean Ono Lennon, the son of John Lennon, who does a great job on all the other instruments except for bass on this album. Both Les and Sean do vocals. Just a great album, one of my favorites of the year. Check out the Claypool Lennon Delirium, The Great Paradox, and The Golden Egg of Empathy. On the same day, American Football put out their album, their self-titled album. They've released four self-titled albums, so they also call this one LP4. Uh, Very good post-rock with Midwest emo, dream pop, math rock, and indie rock influences. Check that out if you like the sounds of that. And on May 3rd, Geoff Tate put out Operation Mindcrime 3, the third solo album by this American musician. It's progressive metal with hard rock influences, and of course, he rose to fame with the progressive metal band Queensryche. And I wasn't sure how to feel about this when I saw this was announced, but it was actually better than I expected. A very good album. Definitely check it out if you like the vocals of Geoff Tate and you like Operation Mindcrime. It's not as good as the original, but I think it could be even better than Operation Mindcrime 2. Not sure if that's a controversial take yet, but I do enjoy it. Now we're getting into the stuff that I haven't talked about at length on the channel yet. May 8th, which has just passed. I'm still listening to all these releases from May 8th, formulating my first impressions. Probably my next video on this channel will be my first impressions and ratings of these May 8th releases. But Black Orchid Empire released Lore, the fifth album by this band from the UK. Progressive metal, gent, alternative metal, alternative rock all combined there. I love this band. If you're a fan of Tesseract, Carnival, Vola, and Tool, imagine those bands being mixed together. Pretty catchy. It's very accessible prog metal. There's nothing too out there and experimental, but everything is just so well written and performed. So check out Black Orchid Empire's album Lore. And also on May 8th, Karmanjakah came out with Diamond Morning, the second album by this Swedish band. It's progressive metal, gent. Sometimes they call it fall when it's even lower and lower tune than gent. Uh, so very low tune guitars, chuggy. I thought their debut album was excellent. And their two EPs before this were also very good. The two singles I heard from this ahead of time were excellent, Dove and Eyes Seeing Eyes. So definitely excited to check this out. Check it out if you're a fan of Tesseract. Genty, catchy, a lot of soaring, emotional, clean vocals. Very cool stuff. Check out Diamond Morning by Karmanjakah. Also on May 8th, Karcius put out Black Soul Sickness, the seventh album by this Canadian band. It's progressive rock, kind of metal at times, jazz fusion a little bit, hard rock. Thanks to Rhyme Signature's YouTube channel for putting this on my radar. I had heard the 2022 album by Karcius, Gray, White, Silver, Yellow, and Gold. I thought that was excellent, but I actually didn't realize the follow-up was coming out in May until I saw the Rhyme Signatures video. I'm really happy to see that. Plus, this band's Canadian, so double excited as a fellow Canadian. Check out Black Soul Cygnus by Karcius. Also on May 8th, Teramaze put out The Silent Architect, the 13th album by this Australian band. It's progressive metal. They're an excellent band with an excellent catalog. They're very melodic progressive metal. They occasionally have Christian themes in their lyrics. They're not too overt or blatant about it. They haven't bothered me too much with their lyrics. You don't hear too many Christian prog metal bands, but this is one of them, and they're just doing a great job on the vocals, the instrumentals, and songwriting. Always stellar stuff from them. So check out The Silent Architect by Teramaze. Also on May 8th, the Lemon Twigs put out Look for Your Mind, the sixth album by this American band. It's kind of psychedelic pop rock. It's a very retro sound. I thought their last album, A Dream Is All We Know from 2024, was good, but I didn't go back to it much. It's not really my main style of music, and I was hoping they could outdo that one here. If you're a fan of late 1960s music from the Beatles and the Beach Boys, it sounds very retro, like it could have come out then. Not super complex music or musically or lyrically, but just great chord progressions, melodies, vocal harmonies, key changes. Just about great, catchy songwriting and hooks. So check out Look for Your Mind by the Lemon Twigs if that sounds good to you. Then Panopticon just put out their new album. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pronounce that album title, but we'll give it a shot. Det Hjemsøkte Hjertet. I don't know. Something like that. I'm not sure what language that is. I think it looks like it's like Norwegian or some kind of Nordic language. But strangely, Panopticon, I believe, is an American band, so I'm not sure why that title is in some other language. I'm sure there's a story behind it. But this is their 12th album. They're American. They do atmospheric black metal. They've got folk. They've got progressive influences. Very cool band. I love their 2023 album, The Rhyme of Memory. Excellent stuff. Some of the other stuff they put out throughout their career has been great too, but I haven't heard their whole discography yet. But I see this new album ends with a prog epic called Ghost Eyes and the Firelight, and that's 13 minutes and 50 seconds. And I've actually just paused this album to make this video, so I haven't finished listening to it yet. Um, Still formulating my thoughts. It's still on a first listen through, but very cool stuff. If you like this kind of atmospheric black metal, this is one you got to check out by Panopticon. And last one on my list for May 8th is another kind of atmospheric black metal thing with A Forest of Stars and their album Stack Overflow in Corpse Pile Interface, the sixth album by this band for the UK. This one seems a bit more avant-garde atmospheric black metal. It's got progressive metal, ambient, folk, and psychedelic influences. And another band, I've never heard an album by them before, but upon hearing the opening track of the album called Ascension of the Clowns, it got me really interested. So I'm going to listen to this whole thing. Vocals here alternate between this almost spoken word that sounds really anguished and between that and the more typical sounding black metal shrieks. So check that out if you like atmospheric black metal and the avant-garde progressive stuff like that. Stack Overflow in Corpse Pile Interface by A Forest of Stars. Check it out. Now let's move on to May 15th. Let's see, maybe I can get more of my screen showing here if I hide my bookmarks bar. There, can you see more of my list at a time here? Sweet. Um, Periphery, a band that I love, is putting out Pale White Dot, a Pale White Dot, their eighth album. They're an American band, progressive metalcore slash gent, and I just love this band. I love all their albums. I've got a poster of them on my wall here, and I expect this could be a strong contender for my year-end list if they maintain their typical quality. Uh, It's possible. Could be album of the year material. Um, Looking forward to hearing what they do here. Check out A Pale White Dot by Periphery if you like this progressive metalcore gent style. They're pretty much the kings of that. They popularized it and they rule at it. Them and Tesseract. And of course, Meshuggah kind of started that style. Next, I have Crownlands with their album Apocalypse, another amazing Canadian band. This is their third album. It's progressive rock with hard rock, psychedelic rock, ambient, and blues influences. And yeah, I think this counts as their third album because they put out Ritual 1 and 2. So they put out two albums and then they put out this pair of what I think just count as EPs, Ritual 1 and 2. Uh, So I think this counts as their third album, but if you count those two as full albums, then I guess it's their fifth. But I love their second album, Fearless. I wasn't a big fan of their more tribal ambient instrumental work from 2025, the Ritual 1 and 2. But I was excited for this one after hearing the opening single, the title track, Apocalypse, from this new album. It's a 19-minute prog epic. It's reminiscent of Rush. So check this out if you like Rush and you like Canadian prog rock. That's Apocalypse by Crownlands. And I've seen them live. They are quite excellent. And they performed as a duo, which is almost like hard to believe how amazing their sound is when they're just two guys on stage. I couldn't believe it. I thought they had someone hiding in the back doing some stuff or something. So yeah, check out Crownlands Apocalypse, May 15th. Advent Horizons putting out Falling Together, the fourth album by this American band. And it's kind of progressive metal, not super metal, kind of on the border between progressive metal and rock. And I love their third album, Sell the Call Home from 2023, which is what got me into them. But I went back and checked out all their past work after hearing that. It's all excellent. If you're a fan of Dream Theater and Rush, I think you'll love this. And the singles I heard from this new album are amazing too. Past Life Parable, Faith's Window, just amazing stuff. Advent Horizon, check it out. Falling Together. Then Bruce Soord is putting out a solo album, Ghosts in the Park, his fourth solo album. He's a musician from the UK. This is progressive art rock with alternative rock influences. And he is the frontman of The Pineapple Thief. And I thought his last solo album, Luminescence from 2023, was very good. The singles from this new one are very good too, leaning a bit more into the singer-songwriter vibe, great atmosphere and production. Not so much like progressive rock fireworks or virtuosity, but just great songs, great singer-songwriter, great sound. If you like the sounds of that, check out Ghosts in the Park by Bruce Soord. Then Port Noir is coming out with The Dark We Keep, the fifth album by this Swedish band. They're alternative rock with progressive rock, alternative metal influences. It's kind of genty sounding on the guitars, but it's like an alternative rock band with genty guitars. If you like Carnival, Agent Fresco, Sky Harbor, Caligula's Horse, Black Peaks, Tesseract, Vola, even Haken and King Crow. Uh, it's like those bands, but with a much more mainstream radio alternative rock sound than those bands, but like kind of has those genty guitars and those progressive elements like those bands. Check out The Dark We Keep by Port Noir. Then I've got Sum of Seven releasing Echoes of the Hypermind. This is the debut album by this Finnish progressive metal band. Check it out if you like prog metal. On May 20th, another Canadian band, love to represent them on my list. Trope is putting out their album Dyad, their second album, and this is progressive rock with alternative rock, progressive metal influences. They're a two-person band. They have strong female vocals over rhythmic guitar parts that sound like Tool. Kind of interesting to hear another two-person Canadian band coming out this year after Angine de Poitrine and Crown Lands. There's lots of Canadian duos that make a lot of noise, and this is one of them. Yeah, strong female vocals, rhythmic guitar parts. They sound like Tool, and I've seen them live. They were interesting to see, but I do feel like this band, they need to get themselves a solid drummer and bassist to complete their sound. As unlike Jean de Poitrine and Crown Lands, they don't really have a full-time drummer in their band. Uh, I think when I saw them live, they opened for Haken and Symphony X? Trying to remember when I saw them live. I didn't go specifically to see them, but they were an opener for some prog bands that I was excited to see. I think it was Haken and Symphony X. And yeah, I just think they need to get themselves a solid drummer, get themselves a bassist to complete their sound because it's a singer and guitarist, and they play over backing tracks for drum and bass. But the music's very good, and it looks like this is going to be a double album, so I'm excited to see what they do here. Now, jumping over to May 22nd, Carphagen is releasing Omni 2 Act 1, The Glass of Time, and I liked the other Omni stuff he's put out so far. This is the 23rd album by this Ukrainian artist. It's symphonic progressive rock. It's kind of hard to count how many albums he's put out. He's very prolific. He's a keyboard player named Anthony Kalugin, one of the greatest prog rock keyboard players playing right now. And he's put out many albums under this name, Carphagen. He's put out some with Sunchild, and he's put out some solo albums under his own name. From the trailer on Bandcamp with the guest vocalists, this sounds like it could be one of the best Carphagen releases I've heard, so I'm excited for this one. Then Impure Wilhelmina is releasing Le Sanglot, the eighth album by this Swiss band. It's post-metal with atmospheric sludge metal, post-hardcore, alternative, post-rock, and progressive influences. And I thought their seventh album, Antidote from 2021, was very good, so I'm excited for this one. Definitely one to check out if you like post-metal. Le Sanglot by Impure Wilhelmina. Then we've got Dimmu Borgir putting out Grand Serpent Rising, the 10th album by this Norwegian symphonic melodic black metal band. This one is one that I'm excited for. I'm not too familiar with the Dimmu Borgir catalog, but everything I've heard has been pretty epic sounding and pretty cool. So I put this on my list to check out. Then we've got Ed O'Brien releasing Blue Morpho, the second solo album by this artist from the UK. It's alternative rock with art rock, indie rock, dance, folk, and electronic influences. And if you recognize that name, you may know him because he plays guitar and he does backing vocals in Radiohead, the massive band Radiohead. And I heard the title track of this solo album ahead of time. I enjoyed it, so I put this on my list. I didn't hear his first solo album, but sounds like it's going to be pretty cool. Cool to hear some solo music from a Radiohead artist. Now, May 27th, we've got Albion releasing, it was in the month of May 1, the second album by this band from the UK. It's progressive folk metal with progressive rock and Celtic influences. I thought their debut album, Lake Songs of Elbid from 2024, was very good. I'm hoping this could be even better. If you're a fan of Jethro Tull, check this out. Imagine combining Jethro Tull but making them even more metal and kind of having that folk metal sound mixed with Jethro Tull and flutes and Celtic vibes. Very cool band. Interested to hear what this sounds like. It was in the month of May 1 by Albion. Check it out. And then possibly my most anticipated album of the year right now is Devin Townsend with The Moth, the 23rd album by this Canadian artist. This is a progressive metal rock opera. It's got symphonic and ambient influences. It's a whole concept album rock opera that Devin's been working on for many years. He performed this live before recording the album. He announced a one-time show in the Netherlands with a choir and orchestra to perform this new, never before heard rock opera. last year. It was an exclusive show. It won't be staged anywhere else in the world. Though he did end up announcing a second date there, so he did it multiple nights. But it was like a almost a residency. Like it's very expensive to take a choir and an orchestra on the road. So I don't know that this will ever be seen again, but maybe we can hope that this is the kind of thing that just give him your money so that he can afford I've pre-ordered this. Hopefully one day he can afford to just take an orchestra on the road. The Moth tells the story of the human experience from birth to death, comparable to transformation of a caterpillar into a moth. It symbolizes the human quest for meaning. It offers perspectives on the fear of death through an analogy and narrative. And ever since Devin Townsend witnessed large musicals like Jesus Christ Superstar and Phantom of the Opera in the 70s, he has seen this project as his calling. So The Moth has been in the making it's been an inspiration to him for many decades, but it's been in the making for over a decade, and Townsend has been building towards it for 30 years. And I've watched the recordings of the live show on YouTube. It blew my mind. The singles have been amazing. This could be a strong contender for Album of the Year, I think, here. So check out The Moth by Devin Townsend. Then this legendary Beatle, Paul McCartney, is putting out The Boys of Dungeon Lane, his 21st solo album, I believe. And yeah, he's a former Beatle. He still rocks in his old age, and I like what he's been putting out lately, and I expect this to be strong. I like the two singles he put out one with Ringo Starr on it. It's very kind of emotional, nostalgic. His voice is aging. You can tell it's an older guy singing. It sounds like an older artist, but it's just he's a great songwriter. So what else do you want? The Boys of Dungeon Lane by Paul McCartney. And Elder is putting out Through Zero, their seventh album. They're an American band, but they're based in Berlin now, I believe. Heavy psychedelic, progressive stoner rock. They've got some doom metal influences in there. And I like everything I've heard by Elder, but I still haven't done a full deep dive on their discography. Maybe this album will inspire me to do that. And last one on my list for May album release radar is Violet Grohl with her album Be Sweet to Me, the debut album by this American artist. It's alternative rock with grunge and indie rock influences. Violet is the daughter of Foo Fighters frontman and former Nirvana drummer Dave Grohl. That's pretty much the reason she's on my list. Obviously, she has that name recognition from being Dave Grohl's daughter, working to her advantage. But the singles that I heard actually have been pretty good. Her vocals are strong. The songwriting's good. She's obviously working with some great musicians, and the production's solid. Everything sounds really good here. So check it out if you like that alternative rock grungy sound. That's Be Sweet to Me by Violet Grohl. That's it for my May album release radar. Which of these are you most excited to hear? Let me know down in the comments. And did anything else, or is anything else coming out in May, or has it already come out in May that you think I might like that wasn't on my list? Also, let me know. I'm always looking for more stuff. But there's 26 albums, I believe, that I'll be listening to in May. And if you like metal rock and prog music, you're in the right place. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Stay in the loop on when I post new videos. Every week, I'll be posting my first impressions of these albums as they come out, so you can hear what I think of them, like how I rate them, so you can find out if there's something that you want to check out. And at the end of the month, I'll put my top 10 together, and I'll make a video showing what my top 10 albums of May are, so you can find out what the 10 best ones are, in my opinion, of course. So stay tuned for all that, and peace out.